I'm from Fairmont, West Virginia. If you say West Virginia, the first thing people think of is, what, Deliverance? You know what I mean? It's not like that. It's just not. Well, I would consider myself Appalachian. And I know that there's two different pronunciations of that term, but I grew up saying Appalachian. You know, and I'm just writing what's in my head, and what's in my head is the stuff that I've listened to my whole life, and the base of that is country and bluegrass music. Yeah, my father's side of the family came over from Italy and immediately went to work in the mines. My great-grandfather ended up actually having his own coal mine called Sam Poster Coal. He had worked for the company for a while and somehow squirreled away enough money to buy the mineral rights to his property. And he and his boys, his 4 sons, worked that mine for years. And my grandfather went into the mines and was part of the number 9 explosions, both in '54 and in '68. And then my father, 3 years after the last number 9 disaster, went into the mines in '71, and he worked 37 years for Consolidated Coal. There's a certain kind of mindset that you're instilled with. There's a lot of self-responsibility, I guess. There's a lot of self-care. Basically, it's almost like a pioneering kind of a thing. There are very few people in that area. I live in a city now that outnumbers the state that I left in population. And it took a couple of years to kind of adjust to that, just the overwhelming number of people, you know, and the scale of everything. And so it's just those kinds of things, that self-reliance that I'm only a generation or two removed from, that, you know, coming here sort of made me stand out like a sore thumb in a way. You know, like, I'm covered in grease because I worked on my car. I'm fixing just anything and everything for my friends. And, you know, it came down to the way that I play music. You know, I put out my own records. I had my own record label. I ran my own bar. I bought 2 music venues and ran them so that my friends would have a place to play their weirdo music, you know, and to create like a space for what I saw as the art of this area, which is incredibly influenced by people from where I'm from. And you meet these people who are also kind of misfits in their, you know, rural towns, and we've kind of found each other here. You know, yeah, we might be a little quicker to act. We might like whiskey a little bit more than the next guy. We might, you know, be a little bit louder than everybody else. But, you know, it doesn't mean that we're not good people. It just we were raised differently, and that's one of the things that I try to do with my music, is to tell the stories of where I'm from, to make it a little less mysterious, and, you know, shine a light on the fact that we're all just kind of doing the same thing here. We all fall in love. We all know people who are addicted to something. We all know people that are, you know, lost in their jobs or their careers or their own minds or whatever. And so, you know, we try to tell those stories. I've lived here now a year longer than I lived in West Virginia. So I've just reached this tipping point where, you know, I still say that I'm from West Virginia when people ask me, but this has become a home for me.
You gotta know the shape I'm in. You hang on the arm of the lesser man. It's too late to say I'm sorry now. And the truth be told, I never am. You gotta know the shape